all the things. So.
Good morning. Buenos dias. And welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of San Antonio. Our weekly worship is where we connect, share information and inspiration. My name is Shammi Anholt, and my husband Gary and I started attending this church in 2022 and became members in 2023. I've thoroughly enjoyed becoming part of this community, and to that end, I became a greeter a couple months back and have thoroughly enjoyed meeting and greeting everybody here. I'm looking forward to getting more involved as time goes on. Our faith is all-inclusive, and all means all. We strive to enact a universal love that binds us all in mutual care and affection, especially in our work for justice for our planet and all its people. Let us bring to mind the many different homelands of our ancestors and be grateful that we can join here in beloved community, owing in part to their journeys. Let us recognize that San Antonio, also called Yanaguana, is the homeland of the Cualtecan, whose people have lived here for over 8,000 years. Their descendants, knowledge keepers of this area, still struggle for their right to participate in decisions that affect their people, their property, and sacred heritage sites. If you are new to us or visiting for the first time today, we welcome you to fill out a visitor's card. We'd like to get to know you and follow up with you. Wherever you are on your life's journey, we hope you will find your place with us. To that end, we greet one another each Sunday so that we may know who is journeying along with us. Please take this moment to turn to one another and greet your travel companions.
To all who are yearning for community, come in, be among us. To all who are just getting started, to all who long to go deeper, to all with tender places needing care, come in and be among us. Please stand as you are able for our opening hymn, number 315.
Please follow along on the screen with this responsive reading. We come from many places along different paths, bringing different truths. We come with different histories and different realities, and yet we come together as one people with faith that we can use our differences to heal ourselves and each other, to bring wholeness to a fractured world. We come seeking to find community, to find acceptance of who we are. In this place, we may find others who are much like us and others who are much different. We light this chalice to remind us that we are a people taught by different stories, with many voices, but always one people, working for a world where love creates justice and justice gives birth to peace. Okay. We are called as Unitarian Universalists to bring the beloved community where all are welcome as blessings. Let's recite our covenant that articulates our promises and binds us together. Please read together. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other. El amor es la doctrina de esta iglesia. Su sacramento es la búsqueda de la verdad. Y su oración es la servicio, convivir en paz, buscar sabiduría en libertad. Dar a la humanidad nuestro servicio fraternal, para que todas las almas crezcan en armonía con la divinidad. Así pactamos el uno con el otro. A reading. In the heart of our bustling town, where stories intertwine, lies a tapestry of lives, where the threads of fate align. Here, amidst the laughter and the tears we've shed, we find the essence of life where joy and loss are wed. In the quiet corners where shadows softly fall, whispers of love linger, weaving tales for all. A hand to hold in darkness, a smile that lights the way. Love blooms like a garden in the heart's array. But where there's love, there's also loss, a bitter, poignant truth, a tear that stains the laughter, a farewell to our youth. For in the cycle of our days, we face the bitter cost of bidding farewell to cherished souls, of dreams and love now lost. Yet through it all, our community stands strong and true, shoulders to lean on, hearts that beat anew. In the embrace of kinship, we find our common ground, a circle of support where strength and solace abound. So here's to the journey with its twists and turns untold, where loss and joy entwine, where love's bright flame takes hold. In the heart of our community, we find our place to be, bound by love and laughter in sweet serenity.
At this time, you are invited to come forward and light a candle that brings light to our lives and to the world. Some readings from our Book of Life. Betty Bergner had knee surgery a couple of days ago after suffering a fall. Cards and calls are welcome. Prayers for my friend Misty and her sweet mother, Pam Highsmith, who lost her long fight with dementia last night. And wishes that more people join us for the screening of Israelism after the service today. For all of our joys and sorrows and concerns, may we feel empathy and compassion. May the caring of our community offer a space of deep kindness, loving and just action. Amen. This time I invite Bridget to come forward with a story.
If anyone would like to come up so they can see the pictures more closely, you're welcome to come up and join me. Otherwise, the story is going to be up on the big screen.
I'm going to sit next to you. I'll sit right here.
All right.
I'm tall.
This book is called Joy.
Joy. Nice. That's from inside out. It's from inside out, yes.
Fern loved Nana.
That's from inside out.
She loved her butterfly cakes, her mantelpiece mice, and her cat, Snowball. Did you see the cat?
Yeah.
Yeah. Most of all, she loved her smile. Do you have a grandma that you love their smile?
Yes, my Gigi.
Yeah.
My grandma's not living here anymore, so sadly.
But recently, Nana had stopped baking cookies. The mice were dusty, and Snowball was more like a ball of fuzz. Worst of all, Nana hardly ever smiled. "What's wrong with Nana?" Fern asked her mother. "I don't know," Mom replied. "It's like the joy has gone out of her life." "What's joy?" asked Fern. "Joy is what makes your heart happy and your eyes twinkle. Like when we dance after dinner, or when I get the giggles with Ernie, or when I go whooshing down a slide." "Yes, a great big whoosh," said Mom. "What are some things that bring you joy?"
My mom and my friends. My grandma.
Your grandma?
My family.
Nana deserved some whoosh, thought Fern. And if the joy had gone out of Nana's life, then she would bring it back. But where would Fern find it? And how would she carry it to Nana? She searched the house for a catching kit. A can, a paper bag, a saucepan, a box with no lid, a lid with no box, a fishing net, and a pointy stick. Into Fern's catching bag it all went. That afternoon, Fern and her mother set off for the park. There would be plenty of joy there. No one would mind if she borrowed some for Nana. A puppy bounded toward Fern, its floppy ears flying up and down. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Fern giggled. She felt the whoosh of joy. She tried to catch the bounce, but the bounce wouldn't go in the box. On the swing, a baby chuckled each time her daddy tickled her feet. Tickle, tickle, chuckle, chuckle. Fern chuckled too. She felt the whoosh of joy. She tried to catch the chuckles, then she tried to catch the tickles, but neither the chuckles nor the tickles would go into the can. When Fern reached the duck pond, a shimmer of sun sparkles rippled across the water. Fern smiled. She felt the whoosh of joy. Nana would love this, she thought. She tried to catch the sparkles, first with her fishing net, then with her paper bag, finally with a scoop from her saucepan. But the sparkles just disappeared. Finding joy was easy, but catching it was hard. Fern walked home with heavy feet. She loved Nana and wanted to bring joy back into her life, but her catching bag was empty. Nana was snoozing in her chair. Fern laid her head on her arm. "What's the matter?" asked Nana. "I wanted to catch some joy for you, but I couldn't," said Fern sadly. Fern told Nana about all the things she had seen. To Fern's surprise, Nana smiled. It was the biggest, widest whoosh of a smile Fern had ever seen. "You don't need a can or a box or a net to bring me joy," Nana said. "You bring me all the joy in the world just by being you." The next day, Fern took Nana to the park. Whoosh! Together, they found joy in the most unusual places. And this time, Fern's catching bag was full to the brim with Nana's delicious butterfly cakes. The end. All right, so now it is time for the children who would like to go play on the playground to meet me at the back of the sanctuary. If you would like to stay with your families, you are welcome to do that as well.
Generosity is part of who we are as a community. It helps us to participate in a cause that is greater than ourselves. For those of you viewing online, we invite you to donate on our website or on the link in the chat stream. Please write recipient on your note. Those of us in the sanctuary may contribute in the baskets. We would like to invite the ushers to please come forward.
Yesterday, a child went out to wander, caught a dragonfly inside a jar. Fearful when the sky was full of thunder, and tearful at the falling of a star. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted pony So the years been passed, and now the boy is 20. Though his dreams have lost some grandeur coming true, there'll be new dreams, maybe better dreams, and plenty before the last revolving wheel is through. And the seasons, they go round and round, and painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on the carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came and go round and round, round in the circle game. And go round and round and around in the circle game.
Thank you, Chris. We bless these gifts and the generosity of the givers. Let it be so. Brothers and sisters gathered here today in love, I would guess that all of us have experienced some sort of loss in life, whether it be the loss of a job, the loss of a pet, the loss of our youth, the loss of our health, the loss of faith, and of course the loss of a loved one. A spouse, a parent, a partner, and perhaps worst of all, a child. These experiences can be devastating, but look around. We are all still here. We have persevered. And certainly we have what feels like a huge hole in our heart. But the heart is a resilient organ, and it can take a hit, and it can still survive. Perhaps it can even make us stronger and more thankful and loving. Joe Biden has said, "The day will come when the memory of the person you lost brings a smile to your lips before it brings a tear to your eye. And that's when you know that you're going to make it." Some losses can be tragic and unexpected. Other losses can happen over time and slowly eat away at our soul. However, joy can be the same way. The joy of a child being born. The joy when you are told that the tumor is no longer there. The joy of a new relationship. The joy of reconciling with estranged loved ones when something had divided you for a long period of time. The story of the prodigal son comes to mind. In my life as a minister, I experienced loss and joy often. I have presided over at least 100 funerals. I remember one time I got a call to come to the hospital immediately. A young girl in my congregation was in the maternity ward. And I arrived and I quickly went to the room where she was being treated. And she had just delivered a stillborn baby. And she was holding the lifeless baby in her arms, rocking him back and forth. What can you say? What can relieve that kind of horrific pain and agony? Maybe there are no words. However, I also conducted just as many, if not more, baptisms and weddings. These were times of joy and happiness, the joy of new life and new relationships. Yes, we do experience both loss and joy. I'd like to tell you a couple of personal stories where the fear of loss and the joy of recovery were both experienced. When I was 4 years old, a buddy and I decided to take a little road trip on our bikes without telling our parents. We lived on an Air Force base in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan at the time, and military bases were safe places because no one could enter them unless they were authorized. People would leave their doors unlocked at night, and they would always leave their keys in their cars, and they would let their kids go outside and play unsupervised. So my buddy and I, we rode down the block where there was this trail that led down to a pond at the bottom of the hill. And we hung out there for a while trying to catch frogs and turtles. And we also enjoyed watching the dragonflies as they were buzzing over the pond, swooping down to touch the water every now and then to catch whatever it is that dragonflies eat. Up on the other side of this hill was a playground at the elementary school, and we decided it would be fun to go up there and play on the teeter-totter and climb on the monkey bars. However, it looked too daunting to try and ride our bikes up that big hill, so we decided to leave them parked by the pond. So off we went up to the playground. Well, soon our parents were getting a little worried that we had been gone so long, and they came looking for us. And soon they reached the pond, and there was no sign of us, only our bikes. Of course, they panicked, and they began to scream our names over and over again, and they eventually heard us playing at the top of the hill at the playground. And we thought that they would be so proud of us for making it all the way to the playground by ourselves. However, being proud of us was the last thing that they felt. Boy, did we get into trouble. If I remember right, we were both grounded from riding our bikes forever. But the fear they must have felt was overwhelming. I would guess that the first thing they thought was that we might have drowned in the pond. Maybe some of you can relate to this kind of gut-wrenching fear when your mind just goes crazy, imagining the worst-case scenario. But then comes the feelings of relief and joy and anger, all at the same time when you discover that things will be okay. Well, you've probably heard the phrase, what goes around comes around. Now, fast forward 35 years, and my first wife and I, and our 11-year-old son and our 4-year-old daughter were at a department store in a large shopping mall in Springfield, Illinois. And we were in the men's section looking for a new winter coat for myself. And our son was close by, and he was looking at clothing that he was interested in, no doubt a new Michael Jordan jersey. And our daughter was right next to us, being a typical 4-year-old. And after not finding anything that I really liked, we looked down to tell our daughter that we were ready to leave. But she was nowhere to be found. She must be around here somewhere, we thought. After all, she was just there a couple minutes ago. And we started to call her name, at first just in a regular voice, and then soon began to be louder and louder until we were practically shouting. And then the panic set in. Did she run off somewhere in the crowd? Or worse yet, did someone take her when we looked away? I can't remember a time when I have ever felt so full of fear and panic. And we told our son to run to one exit, and my wife and I, we went to another exit, thinking that we could find her before she left the store, either on her own or by someone forcibly taking her. And we kept screaming her name. And after about 5 minutes, and to no avail, we returned to the area where we were shopping to call security. And finally, after what seemed to be an eternity, a sales associate came over to us and said, "Are you looking for a little girl?" "Yes," we said. "Oh, I think that she's hiding under one of these coat racks over here." And sure enough, there she was. You see, I had experienced the same emotion that my mom had experienced when she found my abandoned bicycle. Intense relief and joy, and then anger. There are many times in our lives when our emotions feel like they are on a roller coaster. We experience the fear of loss and the joy of recovery. And sometimes it might even be something simple, like when we lost a sock in the laundry and then turns up a couple of days later. As I get older, I find that the losses I have experienced seem to fade away, and the joys I've experienced become more and more important. To be honest, I have come to realize that both of these emotions are best experienced in a loving community. And I truly believe that as humans, we are meant to live in community. It has been that way since the beginning of time, ever since the time when our early ancestors were hunters and gatherers. They had to stay together in community. They learned that if they separated, there was no way that they could survive. And we can even observe this in the animal kingdom. Think of a flock of sheep, a herd of elephants, a pack of wolves. If they get separated from the community, they are in danger of who knows what. And I think that is the same way for us. We really can't survive alone. And I would hope all of you here today maybe feel the same way. For in community, we can dream together, laugh together, and yes, even cry together. But most of all, we will survive together. And as a community, there is one thing that takes us beyond just surviving, and that is love. Love is the glue that lets us be who we truly are. It gives us a safe environment to share stories, express new ideas, and not feel judged. But I would guess that some of you have not always felt loved. Maybe it's because the color of your skin, the shape of your body, or your sexual orientation. Perhaps some of you have even been victims of bullying. How many of you remember gym class in school? I don't even know if they have that anymore, but it was a lot different when I was younger than it is now. Sometimes I wonder, why didn't more kids die back then? Remember when you had to climb up this rope and you had to go all the way to the top of the gym and touch the beam at the rafters up there? Of course, you know, if you happened to fall, there was this 1-inch foam pad at the bottom of the floor that would protect you. One time I was on the trampoline, which was a required activity, and the teachers weren't paying attention. They were doing something else, and I decided to do a flip. And I landed wrong, and my knee bounced up, and it hit one of my eyes. And I ended up having a blowout fracture where my eye had been pushed down into my sinus cavity. And I had to have surgery to repair it. Actually, though, it's the only time I've ever been in the hospital, so that's a good thing, I guess. But I remember in 9th grade, after every gym class, we would all have to take showers in big open areas. Well, I hated taking showers with all the other boys. You see, I was very late in maturing physically. And I recall all the other boys pointing at me and laughing. Another time we were required to run the 600-yard dash, and I would always come in last. Of course, I was always made fun of, and I even received a failing grade for the activity. But it turned out later that I was diagnosed with asthma, and that's why I couldn't keep up with everybody. Or maybe in gym class you remember how teams were selected. You know, they'd have these captains of the team, and each captain would go up into the front, and then they would choose one by one who they wanted to be on their team. And how ashamed you felt when you were the last one chosen. I vividly remember these times to this day. I certainly did not feel loved and accepted. I felt anything but. It's hard to open ourselves up to be loved when we have been bullied and shamed. You see, opening ourselves up to love can be very scary. And therefore, loving others can also be scary. For the more we love, the more pain we experience when we lose the object of that love. Let me say that again. The more we love, the more pain we experience when we lose the object of that love. So what is the alternative? We could go through life never loving. That way we would never get hurt. But if we are truly honest with ourselves, would we really want to live that way? Think of a new relationship. You know, you go on a first date and things seem to go pretty good. So you go on a second date, and then maybe you go on a third date. Soon you have been going together for a while, and you begin to have feelings for each other. Maybe you might even feel that you're in love. But there is that proverbial elephant in the room. Who's going to say it first? Someone has to. And this is where it gets tricky. If you say it first, what if the other person doesn't say it back? Or what if they say, well, I really like you too. You see, by saying I love you first, we open ourselves up to being hurt. But if we do not open ourselves to love, we cannot be fully alive. Let's love to our fullest. each and every day. I'd like to close with the words attributed to the Apostle Paul, who was a follower of Jesus. And it was recorded in a letter that he wrote to the struggling church in the city of Corinth. It reads, "Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. And it bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends." And Paul concludes, "And now faith, hope, and love abide, and the greatest of these is love." And now may the universe in all its splendor unify us in spreading peace and love in our homes, in our communities, and in the world. Amen. Please stand for our closing hymn, number 100. We extinguish this flame, but not its meaning and mission in our hearts. Our time together has come to an end. Go in peace, be of service to one another, and may you move through the world in love for all your days.